Hi, and welcome to Against the Grain Instruments. Oh, hey, my nose is... Oh, wait, you want to record? Jesus Christ. Take two. Hi, welcome to Against Grain Instruments. Today we're here to announce that we're part of the Great Guitar Build-Off and here to show off that build and where we are at this point here. But first I wanted to talk about the free pickup giveaway.
Shameless plug alert!
We're going to be giving away a free set of hand mount pickups. Here's the ones I'll probably scroll some pics, but here are the ones from this guitar. They're all wood covered and then hand wound here in the shop. You get your choice of Strat, Tele, whatever type of pickers, humbuckers, P90s, Jazz or P-bass pickups. In order to enter, you gotta just go to our Instagram, which is here. There'll be a link down there. And you can follow us and like the post and comment tagging a friend on the post about the free pickup giveaway. First, a little bit about me. I've been building guitars now for about 10 years professionally. I used to work for other custom shops. I'll go into more about that in my YouTube channel in the future. But for now, we'll talk about my new models. I'm starting to build violins, which we have this guy over here, and archtop guitars, which we have this guy over here. But really, we're here to talk about the newest build, which is my archtop acoustic hybrid, which is the guitar I'll be entering into the Great Guitar Build-Off 2021. So let's go over where we're at right now first, and then we'll come back to how we got to this point. So this guitar is a fully acoustic archtop guitar. So as you can see on the inside, it's fully braced, and we got curved sides with the bent sides here. But there's a lot of electronics going on in here. So first thing I want to talk about is this is going to be a dual humbucker model. So it has these two humbuckers over here, and those go into humbucker slots in the top. The top was reinforced, the top and bracing was just reinforced with some laminate ply to make sure that everything stays together as good as I'd like it to while that top is flexing out. So it's a hand-carved spruce top with flame maple sides, and one of the features that we do is we do this 45-degree neck angle, which you can see kind of easier on the neck here, but it allows for a great playing access and ease of use for the player. So another interesting thing is this will have two humbuckers, which will be, I've preset the wires in here so that when I glue everything up, I don't have to wire it afterwards. But it has a transducer mic, a K&K Pure Mini in here. The K&K Pure Mini will be able to be blended in with the electric pickups, or it'll have dual outputs. There'll be an acoustic output over here and an electric output over here. Acoustic output, electric output. And you'll be able to blend the acoustic pickup into the electric pickups output, or you'll be able to play through two separate mics. So you can do like a distorted and acoustic at the same time through two separate mics, or you can just run stereo with an acoustic pickup and the electric pickups at the same time, which sounds super cool, and I'll be doing demos of once the guitar is finished. My guitars are all designed with this weird shape with them, and the reason for the weird shape is that acoustic bodies vibrate both in and out, like up and down this way, but a lot of the tone comes from, especially the balance between the bass and the treble, comes from the transverse wobbling of the top, so that helps the acoustic features. So one of the ideas that I had was that with a smaller body instrument like a ukulele, get really nice singing highs, but you lose that as soon as you get larger bodies guitars, and as you get larger and larger, it doesn't allow the high frequencies get deadened because they get lost in the tone box. So this guy was designed to allow both the high end and the low end to sing. And to be honest, I haven't strung up that guy yet, which is I'm waiting for tuners, and this should be strung up next week, and I'll be doing demos. But yeah, the cool thing that I really like about these tops is that there's a high-pitched frequency response from the high end and a low end frequency response from the low end, which is exactly what I was going for when I shaped everything and did all my thicknesses. So hopefully once I string this up, it should have a good, nice and balanced tone, even though it's a weird shape. The shape also makes it comfortable to play in both the classical style positions with your foot up on a stool type thing, on a foot stand, or you can play normal, like a Strat or Kelly style, very comfortably without it slipping. It just fits perfectly comfortably over there and over there, and yeah, you get the acoustic benefits as well. So that's the top here. I did the Rosette. It's a sound hole on the side here, and that's so that the player can hear, because this guitar is really designed for being electrified and amplified, but you could totally, hopefully, be able to take this to an acoustic duo set or something like that, and get by as long as you have enough help acoustically. But definitely, when you're practicing and stuff like that, it'll be acoustically audible, which is a good thing and a bad thing, I guess, depending on where you are. But then over here, got the neck, which has this 45-degree angle going on, and it's got a dovetail, like a traditional dovetail guitar. Got some veneers on the back and binding on the top and purfling, and just a ton of miters, and I got video coming up on how I did all of that. We have the Inlay, which is my logo with a vine that is wrapping around the logo. One of the problems with an acoustic electric hybrid is that when you get on stage, you crank up that amplification, and then you get some terrible wobbling from the top there, from the feedback loop of the top, getting excited for the speakers, and so on. You know, speakers excited top excited speakers excited top, and then you get some terrible feedback. So this guy has this brace here glued in, which is kind of like an adjustable sound hole, and I don't have the Allen key on there, but this little hole accepts an Allen key, and that Allen key turns this screw, which as the screw gets tighter, you touch the top with this little letter bit. You can actually dampen the tone if you're practicing, you want to get quiet, but you can also kill the feedback on the top, and all of that gets pushed onto this pad here, which is reinforced with some veneers and some hardening resin, and yeah, so that will dampen the movement of the braces while the bridge is vibrating, and therefore you can get just the electric tone without getting feedback. We'll see how that goes, because it's a new design.
All right, so we're gonna get into some time lapse here. This is me shaping the back, and it's all done by hand with gouges. And yeah, if you do it by hand, you can really feel how everything's getting removed and have a relationship with the wood and see how the wood wants to be shaped. I joined this contest pretty late and didn't know I was joining it, so I didn't really get video of everything. We had a rough 2020, so I just didn't get video of everything. So we're gonna jump around a little bit here. But yeah, you can see all of the top and back were all hand carved here. Now we're gonna jump over to the body's already assembled, and I'm binding the top there. You have to bind the top before you even glue the back on this guitar, so it's kind of odd in that sense. Now I'm doing binding and purfling on the headstock. All the purfling's done by hand, on the fly, so you gotta really pay attention, and you kind of just gotta do it right the first time, or else you're ripping stuff out and having a not good day. So getting good at miters is an art there. This little guy had to get pre-bent on that rod so that it would fit before I got it on there. And that's the headstock. Now I'm cutting out all the inlays. You can see I dropped something. So I would suggest sweeping before you get into little pieces there. Cutting out all those little leaves is very easy to lose one. I think I cut out 9 for 8 leaves. So yeah, now I'm cutting the vines out of that pink ivory or box elder or whatever it is. When using wood, remember grain direction, because it'll crack on that grain direction. So with this inlay, I decided that I was going to do it a little bit different, and after filing and fitting everything, I decided I would start gluing it onto the piece of paper on top of the printout to make sure that everything was lined up and exactly where I wanted it. And then I glued another piece of paper on top and refiled everything to make sure it was all square and ready to get inlaid as one single piece. So it ended up pretty good, but I don't know if I'll use this technique again or just try to glue the pieces together, or just try to route out the whole thing and then fit everything in situation. But we'll figure it out for next time. Now I'm fitting each piece onto the paper, making sure that everything's filed correctly and fit correctly. Gluing it on with just regular CA, and I'll fill everything with black afterwards. But it's nice to be able to make that decision after the fact. Alright, now I'm routing the headstock for inlay. I do everything with this Milwaukee multi-tool with the battery, which I tend to like a lot. I might get one with a plug-in just because the batteries die inevitably with long inlays like this. But I have enough backups to get me through, so for now it's working out. As you can see, the inlay's in one single piece, and I'm just trying to fit it in. And there's the final inlay. Cut out that. Ugh. All right, so with the fingerboard, I decided to do this idea that I had in college where I would just remove all of the wood on the 3rd, 5th, and 7th and 12th fret, and then replace it with a totally different type of wood. But then I took it to the next level and did some more inlay and mitering, as you'll see, or have already seen. So I removed most of the wood with the multi-tool there, and now I'm just cleaning it up. I left a little bit of the wood next to the fret slot to be cleaned up so that I can get the, not hit a fret or anything like that, and make sure all the placement's correct. I then glued everything in with these 22 thousandths rulers to make sure that the fret spacing was correct, and then reslot everything. And now routing for purfling and binding, and routing out for these inlays. With something like this, you just got to go one by one, do each purfling, on the fly, cut it, and you'll see I'll be leaving some random large chunks sticking out of random places, and then cut them down. And that's just kind of how you got to do it. There's just no alternative, no better way. You'll see at this last fret, I decided to stick those rulers back in just to make sure I didn't get any blowout fitting all of the purfling and inlay in there. But yeah, it all turned out pretty good. Just cleaning it up to make sure everything looked nice before I moved on, and got extremely lost. Had to fix a bunch of stuff. yeah, last couple of ones, and then just one long strip of purfling on the treble side, and we'll be good to go with binding. You'll see that I cut one side of the purfling for the fret slots again, and then forgot and already put the glue on the neck there. And yeah, I had to cut the fret slots with the glue there and then super clean my fret saw. But yeah, double check, make sure everything you do is right before you put glue on stuff. But it turned out pretty good. I used tape just to get everything tacked, and then use the rope to make sure everything's tight. This is the end result. I think it came out pretty nice. We'll get frets on it after paint. So now I'm doing the pickup winding. Of course, you're not seeing the 3 bobbins that failed, setting up the machine and get everything dialed in. But yeah, this machine's like 7 years old, and I've designed pickups for tons of companies off this little winder here. There's a video on my YouTube channel.
Shameless plug alert!
If you want to go there to see it, it shows you more about the winder and the pickups and everything, and about our free pickup giveaway. Now I'm putting the slugs in, and now I'm wiring up this pickup here. As you can see, there's no leads coming off the coils. They just go directly to the 4 conductor wire. So it was a new way of doing these pickups, but I think it makes a much cleaner overall look. There's no bulge coming on the sides. I shape all of my necks by hand with a rasp from square just because it's fun. I do think that at least the end shaping done by hand and not just having a CNC run it and sand it up really gets a good feel on a neck, especially if I'm shaping it specifically for somebody who has described their neck to me. So I'm going to keep doing this until my shoulders give out on me. But yeah, it's a fun process, but really builds a bond with the instrument. That sanding technique is something I learned in college. Now onto the Rosette. I used a hole saw because I didn't really think I'd be doing traditional rosettes, and then of course my second guitar, I'm doing some sort of somewhat traditional rosette. So I don't have a circle cutter, so I just used some Harbor Freight hole saws, and it turned out really well. I was surprised, but just slow and careful, and a nice drill press makes everything nice. I'm just gluing the purfling that surrounds the rosette there, and then I sanded it out. Now I'm cutting the leaves for the inlay there. I spent a lot of time to make sure that they lined up so that the leaves looked like they were opposite each other. And then one tip for if you're doing multiple pieces that are the same shape, you can glue them together with a little bit of CA and then file them like I am right here together. And then you have more of a square, you have like 100 thousandths to square off, and you can get them to be exactly the same shape. Now routing the holes for these guys was a little bit complicated because everything was rounded, so I just routed as much as I could away and then took the rest out by hand. Not really the most fun work, but looks really good and isn't too bad once you get into it. Kind of get tunnel vision and just keep going until it looks nice. So yeah, inlay work is fun. That little chisel is awesome. So now I got that piece pretty much fitted, glued in, and the other piece was even more difficult because it was even more rounded. So you have to account, I have a flat piece of pearl and you're putting it into a rounded body, and then you're gonna sand it rounded, so you gotta make sure you're not sanding through everything and so everything's to the right depth. It's kind of annoying doing the rounded things, but looks really nice in the end. So there you go, there's a final shot, and yeah, that's where I'm at with this guitar, and hopefully you'll catch the next video. Please like and subscribe. Everything helps. I'm a small business trying to start getting going, and 2020 was a fun year for everybody, so please like and subscribe. There's my Instagram, and go find my website if you're interested in a guitar or a violin. Give me a call. My number's right there. Thank you.
Shameless plug alert!